Serbia is loved by its visitors due to the great smile and huge heart of its citizens, stunning nature, beautiful cities, gourmet food, and unforgettable entertainment. Serbs love Serbia due to the sense of pride that belonging to one nation gives them, due to its famous history and the belief that the whole world will one day realize all we Serbs deserve is a lot more love and understanding. This is a story of us, our country, since ancient times to the modern. Vinča, near Belgrade, was the heart of the first European urban civilization 9,000 years ago. It was a place in which the first Serbian alphabet was created. Nowadays, the alphabet is built of 20 similar symbols of the Vincian alphabet, which opens discussions whether the current alphabet was created from the Vincian and not the Greek, which is contrary to what is being taught in schools today. Geologists have discovered materials from which the Vincians built their houses and ceramics that were not just of regular clay, but a mixture of materials, which proves they had highly developed technology. The inhabitants of Vinča were the first to melt metals and make paint out of minerals extracted from the mines on Avala mountain. The secret of finding ores and melting metals was discovered by the Vincian culture more than 7,000 years ago. Numerous world scientists state that the Vincian culture was the most technologically advanced prehistoric culture in the world. The archaeological site Lepenski Vir in the Geopak Gorge, situated on the banks of the Danube River, was discovered exactly half a century ago. It was one of the most important discoveries of its kind due to the fact that a prehistoric culture of approximately around 8,000 years old is in question. In the region of Lepenski Vir, people existed for almost 2,000 years. During that time, aside from hunters and gatherers, more organized social economic communities were developed. At the time of the excavation process, 7 habitats were discovered, along with 136 objects built between 6,500 and 5,500 BC. Its inhabitants, as the first urbanologists and builders in that area, built houses out of wooden construction, leaves, and skins from wild animals. Located inside the homes were fireplaces, a little sacrifice place, and stone sculptures that represented their gods. Those sculptures became a recognizing symbol of Lepenski Vir throughout the world and are the oldest artifacts of their kind in Europe. On the territory of present Serbia is the largest part of the front lines of the Roman Empire, an empire that managed to conquer and submit majority of the world in 53 years. Along the Danube line, on which Rome was defended for years, a few groups of cities were created, which metropolizes even in the ancient times. Among these cities is Sirmijuana, consisting of 100,000 inhabitants. It's on the grounds of present Serbia. 16 emperors were born, 2 early Byzantine emperors, including Justin and Justinian. The most important of all the kings born in present Serbia is King Constantine the Great, who ruled from maturity until his death at 31 years of age. Both Constantine and his mother, Helena, have been proclaimed as saints by the Orthodox Church. King Constantine the Great made crucial decisions that changed the course of European history, ceasing the exile of Christians and also converting to Christianity himself, which resulted in cementing Christianity as a leading religion. He also founded a city equal to Rome, being Constantinople, nowadays known as Istanbul, providing existence of the Roman Empire in the East long after the fall of Rome and long after the Western civilized part of Rome fell. The process of the Slavs inhabiting the Balkan Peninsula began in the 6th century and lasted for 200 years. At the beginning of the 9th century, the first states of the Balkan Slavs were created. Their alphabet was the Old Slavic alphabet, and their first books were liturgical. The Slavs accepted Christianity in the 9th century. The most ancient history of Serbia up until the times of Nemanjić dynasty was illustrated with constant battles between both Bulgaria and the Byzantines. At the end of the 12th century, Nemanja succeeded by offensive politics to substantially enlarge the Serbian state, strengthen his empire from Kotor up to Sofia with its capital in Raš. Nemanja's youngest son, Rasko, renamed Sava when he became a monk. He was the first Serbian archbishop, educator, and writer. As a young man, he left his father's kingdom and went to Sveta Gorge. Later on, his father joined him as a monk named Simeon, and with his help, they created the monastery at Helanda. After returning to Serbia as an abbot of the monastery Studenica and afterwards as the founder and first archbishop of the independent Serbian church, Sava developed a large activity to constitute and develop the church life, elevate the culture, and educate the people. Sava was proclaimed a saint after his death. The monasteries that were created by Sava's father became nurseries of literary activities. All of the monasteries are architectural monuments of distinction and beauty, with painted frescoes of which some are proclaimed amongst the highest achievements of European painting from the Middle Ages. Kosovo is Serbia. There are so many Serbian sacred things, so that it will be Serbian even after there will not be a single Serb there. These are the words of the great poet Matija Bečković. Kosovo is the heart of Serbia and has a similar role as Jerusalem for the Jews. In Kosovo, on Vidovdan, 28th of June 1389, not far from Pristina, the Battle of Kosovo between the Ottoman Empire and Serbian forces occurred. The Serbian forces were led by Prince Lazar, along with his allies, and the Ottomans led by Sultan Murat, with his sons Jakub and Bayazet. The Battle of Kosovo is presented as a salvation of Serbia because it emphasized the difference amongst the oppressed Orthodox and Muslim occupiers. The Kosovo battle had a large echo in Europe and temporarily succeeded to stop the Ottoman Empire expanding further in Europe. This battle for centuries after became a central motive of Serbian folk poetry and the Serbian national identity. The Serbian nation lived under the Ottoman Empire for many centuries. The Turkish sultans divided the conquered states between their warriors, and their properties were inhabited by Serbian villagers. The people paid taxes and worked without pay. The hardest obligation of all the tax was that paid in blood. Male children were taken every 5th or 7th year to Turkey. They gave them new names, educated them in Turkish spirit, and trained them to become Turkish soldiers. Some of the children did not obey by escaping to the forest, becoming rebels, and from there organizing battles and uprisings against the Turks. As the years passed, life under the Turks became harder. That kind of life led to numerous migrations of the Serbian population, the largest of which was led by the church patriarch in charge, Arsenije Čarnojević. The region of Belgrade was under the cruelest rule by the Turkish leaders. The people decided to initiate military resistance against the rule. At the beginning of 1804, a revolt against the Ottoman Empire had begun. Đorđe Petrović Karađorđe was chosen as the leader of this revolt. The revolt turned into an open uprising against the Ottoman Empire, known as the First Serbian Uprising. Before the end of 1806, almost the entire region of Belgrade was liberated, and the Turks had to retreat from numerous Serbian states. Serbia participated in World War I, siding with the Allied forces. Today it's well known that the Austro-Hungarian Empire initiated the war using the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, the heir to their throne, on the 28th of June in 1914 in Sarajevo as a direct cause to begin the war. He was shot by Gavrilo Princip, a member of the organization Young Bosnia, which sought liberation of Bosnia from the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The declaration of war against Serbia initiated a chain reaction amongst all the Allies, resulting in a full-scale world war. The First World War, being the worst world battle of its kind, was concluded by the signing of the Treaty of Versailles on the 28th of June 1919. One of the war strategies of Serbia was uniting Serbs, Croatians, and Slovenians. The declaration of the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes was announced by the regent Alexander Karađorđević on the 1st of December 1918. It is said that each memory is like a shoulder that slips each time you try to support yourself on it. Serbia is a shoulder on which each one of us can count. That is why the love and memories of this country are so beautiful.